Everyone, and welcome to Checkpoint. Yeah, I'm really excited to have you today on Checkpoint, and I'm so happy that you are here right now. I'd like to start by saying thank you, and thank you again for all that you do for us here at Checkpoint. Thank you for your likes, thank you for your shares to our posts, to our videos. Thank you for your comments. All right, thank you even for the questions that you asked, and thank you most especially for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Now, because of all that you do, our message is reaching a wider audience, and for this, I am indeed very, very grateful. So today on Checkpoint, I like to share the topic with you, but before I do that, I like us to do what we always do. Let's share the video, share, and share. All right, share it to your friends, share it to your WhatsApp groups, share it to your family members, share it to your associates, share it to anybody that you know that it is going to be a blessing to, because this is what we do at Checkpoint. Remember that at Checkpoint, we equip, we empower, and we edify you with content that's able to help you become a better version of yourself. And I can't wait to share with you what I have in stock for you tonight. So please go ahead and share. Share to your friends, your relations, your associates, and your neighbors, and let them know it is time for Checkpoint. Welcome once again. I'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Checkpoint. Now, today on Checkpoint, I have a very interesting topic I'd like to share with you today. And the topic for today is navigating the tough aspects of marriage. Navigating the tough aspects of marriage. I am sure that many of you must have heard about the difficult parts of marriage, the parts of marriage that look very complicated. Having been married for almost 19 years, I can tell you that marriage is a beautiful thing. Marriage is not as difficult as many people make it out to be. However, there are some very tricky, or will I say complicated aspects of marriage that you have to understand properly and know how to navigate it. Now, marriage in itself is not too hard, but marriage can be hard if you do not know what to do. So today, I'll be sharing with you wisdom I've been able to gather over the years that will help you to become better in your marriage. If you are not yet married, learn this and then keep it safe for yourself, because a time will come in your marriage when you notice some of these very tough aspects, and you would know exactly what to do about it in order to navigate through it successfully. Now, the difference between marriages that have stood the test of time and the marriages that eventually failed are in being able to navigate these tough parts. Now, believe me when I tell you the I love you too part is very, very easy. But then there are these other parts that need a lot of skill, a lot of understanding, a lot of emotional intelligence for you to be able to scale through. And like we always say, communication is the lifeline of every relationship. Many relationships fall apart because in the midst of this tough aspects of marriage, they are not able to communicate well or communicate properly, and at the end of the day, it affects their marriage very terribly. So today, I'll be sharing with you some very tough aspects of marriage, and if you have been married for a while, you will agree with me that this is a tough aspect. Now, I must give a disclaimer, because what is tough for one couple might not even be tough at all for another couple. So for different couples, they will experience different aspects of toughness in marriage. And for what works for one couple might not work for every other couple. So in this video, just pick the things that would work for you. Pick the aspects that you can relate to, or that you can see that is affecting your own marriage, and then practice them, and then maximize the wisdom keys I'll be sharing here today, so that you'll be able to do better and enjoy your marriage better. Let me tell you the truth. You are the first beneficiary of a beautiful marriage. Should I say it again? You will be the first beneficiary, in fact, the sole beneficiary of a blissful marriage. If your marriage is good, your marriage is nice, your marriage is sweet, it is because you understood these things I'm about to share with you. And I don't know how long you have been married, but I am sure that there is something or some things that I'm going to be saying in today's video that you will be able to relate with. And if you relate with it, please do share with me in the comment section and let me know how were you able to navigate that particular aspect that was tough for you in your marriage. What did you do differently? And if you did anything differently, please share in the comment section. You see, learning is a lifelong skill. It's something we do all the time. And the 21st century illiterate is the one who is unwilling to learn, relearn, and unlearn. You have to learn continuously. And I am willing to learn from you. So please do share your experiences with me. Share the wisdom tips that you use to navigate some of the tough parts of your marriage. And then we will talk about it in the comment section. So I'll be very active in the comment section, watching your comments, reading your comments, and responding back to you. Can we do this together? All right, so let's begin. Remember, today's topic is navigating the tough aspects of marriage. Now, marriage in itself is not tough all the way, right? But you need to understand that there are some aspects of it that are tough. Not every aspect of it is tough. So I'll be sharing with you wisdom that will help you to navigate the tough aspects of your marriage. Can we begin? Okay, so number one tough aspect of marriage that many couples need wisdom on how to navigate is what we call unmet expectations. Unmet expectations. Now, I am sure that before you got married, or even as you are still unmarried, so it depends on my audience, whether you are married or married, just listen carefully. As an unmarried person, there are expectations you have about marriage, right? So you expect to have butterflies in your tummy 247. You expect to like live happily ever after. You expect to wake up to kisses in the morning. You expect to have that consistent and constant Cinderella feeling. So in reality, there'll be nice days and there'll be other days that are just blank, and there'll be other days that are very interesting, and there'll be other days that are really ugly, and there'll be other days that are difficult, But all of this, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of them make up for marriage as it should be. So let's bust a few bubbles here. I know that you have expectations even while you are unmarried, or even as an unmarried person, you have expectations, the things that you expect to see in your marriage. You feel like every day there should be balloons, you should be floating in the air, you should be super excited every day, but in reality, it is really not like that. And sometimes you move these expectations into marriage, only for you to get married and you're like, wow, is this it? Is this all that there is? This was falsely advertised and stuff like that. Calm down, because sometimes we can expect too much or expect above what is realistic in life. So marriage has its wonderful moments. I would not lie to you. Marriage has its beautiful moments. I would not lie to you. Marriage has its very, very like exciting moments. That those moments where you feel so good, so happy, so excited. It will have those moments. It will also have some difficult moments. It will also have some moments where you are not even sure why you even embarked on this journey in the first place. You also have some moments where you feel down and low and even lonely while being married. These moments will all come. But it is important that you guard your expectations. You don't have to over expect. There are people who are over expecting. You expect this other person to be not to be human, all right? The person should be supernatural in some ways. It's not going to be realistic. So let's talk about some very some expectations that people have in marriage. An example is this: a guy gets married to a very slim, beautiful woman, and then expects that even after having like 2 children or 3 children, she should remain as slim as she was the day he met her. See, that is not realistic. So sometimes some of your expectations are realistic, sometimes your expectations are unrealistic, but even at the end of the day, some are unmet. So you have expectation, you expected that she should be able to work on herself, gym and exercise and get back to the same size that she was before she gave birth to the children. There may be 1,001 factors that might make it impossible for her to be able to get back to that size. So when this happens, don't start having issues and difficulties and talking about it. There was a particular movie I watched. It was a Nigerian movie, and boy, this movie was really, really good. The title of the movie is Size 12. So in this movie, this particular guy was like, I want to get married to you, but if I must get married to you, I have to get married to you at the moment when you turn size 12. So this lady had to struggle, with exercising, with gymming, and with dieting, and it wasn't working. She had a lot of difficulties and everything, but it was like no size 12, no marriage. And this lady was really, really struggling. The guy was not accepting her until she eventually met somebody who was also interested in helping her reduce weight. But this time, he accepted her for who she was and was willing to walk the process together with her. In life, people can meet several different kind of people and they eventually get married to them. But in reality, these people might have high expectations that you cannot be able to meet. So please, my plea to you, in order to navigate this, understand that both of you are not perfect. The same way you have very high expectations of what she should do, she also has high expectations of who you should be, and you are not that person yet. So while you are working on her having a Cardi B kind of shape, she is desperately working on you having a Dangote kind of account. You get it? So everybody has their own fair shares of expectations. So you want her to have that kind of slim shape, and she wants you to have that kind of money. All of these are unmet expectations. And when unmet expectations happen in marriages, it begins to cause a lot of rift and a lot of anger issues, a lot of situational uh, consequences that make you unhappy with each other. So my advice, my counsel is that when these expectations come, please guard your heart. All right, manage these expectations well. Don't allow these unmet expectations to become the end of your relationship. A particular lady assumed that the same way the guy was wooing her all through their courtship years was going to be exactly his behavior during marriage. And when after getting married, this man stopped wooing her, all the love letters stopped, all the messages and romantic messages stopped. And she was wondering what happened. Did I make a mistake getting married to you, or should I have continued the courtship forever? But this guy needed to understand that, well, why you are now married and you're no longer in courtship, it is important that you sustain some of those little acts of kindness and acts of happiness that made your spouse look at you in the first place, made your spouse make up their mind to get married to you. So many people assume that, oh, the moment I'm married, no more, I won't even bother. There are some ladies who, before they got married, they package themselves so well, they dress so nice, they clean up real good, they apply some perfumes on their body. But the moment they're married, they'll just go and tie up and be walking up and down like Mama Nkechi, or Mama Emeka, and they won't even bother about it, because they are in their mind they are married. What is the packaging for? But see, there are expectations that each of you have for each other. And my counsel is this: both of you should sit down. If you're married, both of you should sit down and ask yourself, what are your expectations of me? This is so important because communication is the lifeline of every relationship. If you want to get it right, both of you should sit down and ask yourself, what do you expect of me? Would you like me to do? What would you like to see me in? What would you like to see me wear? What kind of things would you like to see me do for you? And with this, you'll be able to bridge the gap between these unmet expectations. Don't say, oh, well, that happened because we are not yet married, but now we are married, you have to live with it. That is not the right approach. So if there is something that your spouse still wants you to do that you can do, okay, so just like in that particular movie where he wanted her to be a size 12, and it was not really feasible for her to be a size 12. She was trying, but it wasn't really working out like it should. So what I'm saying in essence is that communicate your expectations, but be willing to achieve a compromise. Let me say this again: communicate your expectations, but be willing to achieve a compromise. A compromise does not mean that you get everything you want, but at least you're able to get something. You're able to move one step further and adjust what it is that you have expectations from. And remember, everyone has their own expectations. So please, as you are meting out your own expectations, be kind, be polite, all right? Be merciful, understanding that it may not be easy for your spouse to be able to meet up with that level of expectation. Is that okay? All right, so let's talk about number two. Number two tough aspect of marriage that has to be looked into, that you need to be able to navigate properly in order to have a very wonderful marriage, is money matter. Money matter. You see, money. What is it called in your language? Tell me. Is it ego, kudi, owo? What else is it called? What is it called in your native language? Just let me know. I'm really interested. I want to hear. All right. Tell me in the comment section. Malachi. I don't know what other names that um money is called, but this money matter is a serious matter in most marriages, in most relationships. Usually, how does it start? Who holds the money? Okay, who is in charge of the money? Okay, it starts with who makes the money. Okay, so who makes the money? Who spends the money? Who saves the money? And the rest of that. And sometimes the husbands assume that it is their role to actually save the money, and the females assume that it is their role to spend the money. So it doesn't matter. There is no hard and fast rule about it, and I want couples to understand that what works for one may not work for you. In some marriages, it could be that the lady is the one who is very frugal with spending. So she's able to manage the funds, she's able to spend it well. In that kind of scenario, in that kind of family, let the woman be the one spending the money. If it happens that the man is the one making the money and he's also the one who is frugal about expenses, he should be the one managing the funds. There is no hard and fast rule about it. It doesn't matter if who is the one who is spending the money. All there is need for is for anybody who spend the money to be accountable. Let me say this again. It is important that if you're the one spending the money, you should be accountable. Don't say, oh, when you're asked for how was this money spent, you not say, are you suspecting me? Are you suspecting me? I spend the money. Now you should trust that I spend the money. You have to be willing to be accountable. If you're the one spending the money, be willing to say, okay, this is how I spend the money. This is what I spend the money on. And you should be transparent as much as possible. Ladies assume that it is the man's job alone to make money. While that may be true, it is also important that you as a woman contribute meaningfully to your home. Don't just sit down and just be, oh, okay, it's his labor, it's his work, and he has to do it alone. See, in some families, husband and wife have to bring their funds together to make it work. In some other families, only the husband has to make the money and it still works. So there is, like I said, there is no hard and fast rule about it. You just have to figure out what works for you because of your personality differences, because of your personality types. What works for you might not be exactly what works for another couple. My husband, in our own case, would say that he is the one who is the head of the home and it is his responsibility to make money in the home. So he's the one that is the principal breadwinner of our home. He's the one who is doing most of the provision. But that does not mean that from time to time I see little gaps, I see little things that need to be fixed, I see things that need to be bought. I don't buy them. No, I sit back and I look at those things. I know what needs to be bought, and I sometimes I bring out my money and buy them. I bring out funds from the money I've been able to make over time, and I'm able to meet up with needs. Sometimes I have to spend money. Maybe he brings a certain amount and it's not up to the amount that we require as a family. I make it up. So this is how we roll. For some other couples, I've heard about a particular man who said every month is like troubling his wife. You must bring your salary here, you must bring your money here. It really shouldn't be that way. In our contemporary times, in at least in our African setting, the man is meant to be the breadwinner. But who said that the man has to die because he's the breadwinner? He must die with the burden of making of winning the bread for the family. It's unfair, right? It's unfair. So if you see that your husband is capable being the breadwinner alone, doing it all by himself, kudos to you. That works for you. But in another case, and you see your husband struggling, You have to be a helpmeet. You have to be a help indeed. You have to be a help that is complementary and supporting the best way you can. You cannot allow the burden to destroy your husband, because if he dies, you'll be the one winning this bread alone. Oh. So, and it's not easy to be the breadwinner alone. So, ladies, I'm talking to you. If you can help and assist your husband, that's why you're a helper. Truly, truly help. Don't leave the burden all to him. And for that man who is always sitting back and waiting for his wife's salary, you should do better. You are supposed to be the head. If you really want to be, don't be the head in only arguments. Don't be the head when you're looking for trouble. Be the head also when you're providing. And this I'm saying is that you should not take me out of context. There is need for balancing of everything I've said. Now I have been able to say that if you're a husband, you should be the breadwinner, but that does not mean that a wife should not support you. I've said that already. And I'm also saying that as a husband, if you are the one who is the head, please behave like the head. Don't always go troubling your wife to bring in her own salary. You must bring in your money to the last kobo. I must know how much you're spending. Also remember that you are the head of your home. And as the head, you have to behave well. You have to really be the one providing. And if your wife is willing to support, celebrate her for being willing to support, but never come to the point where you're forcing her to support. This is me just bringing balance to everything I've said, because this money matter, it has many versions. The problems have many versions. I can't even be able to cover all the many versions of financial matters in marriage in this one video. So it's important that you find out what works for you and do it. But it's important that both parties understand that you are both there to help each other. If you understand this basic, if you have this basic understanding, it will guide the way you behave. It will guide the way you talk to your spouse. It will guide the way you act towards your spouse as it relates to finances. Now, some people have said that they have joint accounts for their money. It works for them, and that's wonderful. For some others, they have separate accounts, but they are both accountable to each other, and that works for them. I will honestly tell you, there is no best way to do it. If joint account works for both of you as a couple, please go ahead and use joint account. If separate accounts work for the both of you as a couple, please go ahead and use separate accounts. For my husband and I, we don't have a joint account. But what we do for us to be able to spend, we have a spending account. So sometimes you just put in money into a particular account where both of us can access, where we can just use for expenses or recurrent expenses in the home. We do not have a joint account. We have both separate accounts, but we are both accountable to each other, which means that if he wants to make a major expense, he can tell me, oh, honey, see, I really want to sow this seed to this man of God. I want to make this expense. I want to support this person in their business. And my own self, if I want to make a major expense, maybe I'm working on something, maybe I'm buying a particular piece of land, or I'm building a particular project. I can say, okay, please, I am doing this at the moment. I'm buying materials to be able to build this. And then we both have some kind of accountability with each other. It is true that our monies are both in different accounts while we are living together and making home expenses. It is also important to us that both each of us know what we are actually spending money on. So we are sort of accountable to each other, even though we run separate accounts. So you just figure out what works for you. I want to tell you, you have to be wise and careful in this matter. A particular husband and wife, they got married newly, and as they got married, you see what happened. They decided to open a joint account, and in this joint account, the both of them were supposed to be spending their money together. So everybody brings their salaries and throws into that joint account. Now it happened that this man was a very, very lousy spender. So he was always spending the money. He was always going to that account and taking money whenever he wanted. But the wife was the frugal one, and she wasn't permitted to be the one to do the expenses for the home. But it happened that that the husband would always go to the bank and withdraw money as much as he wanted to withdraw. But a particular day came, the lady wanted to go and withdraw some money. It was something that their children needed. She went to the bank, and this was many years ago. Okay, so then most of these bank apps were not readily available, and the ATM card. So she went to the bank, and then she wanted to withdraw money. And then the banking cashier told her that you can't withdraw money because the mandate for this account is that the husband can withdraw whenever he wants. But you, before you withdraw anything, your husband will have to sign before you withdraw. And she was so um disappointed, because she discovered that, well, while they had a joint account, the husband could take money whenever he wanted, but she did not even have that kind of access to the account. So please be careful what you sign in the document. Don't say I have joint account, we have joint accounts, and just relax like that. Beyond both of you having joint accounts, you need to be sure what the mandate is, what the mandate for that account is, because that will greatly help you. So money matter is a serious matter in most marriages. Most couples don't agree on what to spend their money on. Most couples don't agree on how they make their money. Some others even leave their spouse for the sake of money. Both of you will have to agree on what is most important. I've heard the arguments like when a couple gets married, or when two young people get married, that the wife must leave wherever she is and relocate with her husband. And to me, that is foolish only when the lady is making better money for the family, because it's important to consider this. Many people say, oh, even if she's making a whole lot of money, she has to be submissive. She has to be a submissive wife, and a submissive wife will relocate from wherever she is and come and join her husband. A particular couple many years ago had this kind of issue. The guy was being paid 20,000 at his place of work, but this lady was making 300,000 in her place of work. That 300,000 salary should have been like a 1 million naira today, and then there was this argument. The husband, everybody was, we were all trying to encourage the husband to leave where he was. He could easily get another job for that same fee in her new location. But he was like, no, I have to be the man of this relationship. I have to be the man of this family. I'm not the one that will relocate. She must be the one that will be submissive. And I asked him a question. If she relocates, can your 20,000 salary carry your family? Will it help you to advance? Say, no, it will not, but at least it will show that she is submissive. Then we can just come together and suffer together until things begin to work out. I was like, this is a very, very foolish move. All right. This lady is willing to cooperate with you. Relocate, because you are the one who is making the lesser money. It is even enough reason for you to relocate and join her in her new location. You will still get a better job, and at least both of you will have something better to work with at the end of the day. Now, like, this advice of mine might even not work for you. So it's important that both of you agree on what works. In another scenario, the lady might be willing to just relocate, maybe because she knows that she has prospects of getting a better job in that new location. But like I said, let me know what your thoughts are on this subject matter. If you met a couple like this and one was making like 20,000 and the other one was making like 300,000, what would your advice be? Would you advise the lady making the 300,000 to leave her job and submit and relocate because she has to submit, or would you suggest for the man to move over, and the submission issue is not still a problem? She will still submit even in that location, even because she knows that the husband has also made sacrifices for the family to remain a single unit. So let me know what your thoughts are on this subject matter. Believe me when I tell you, there are no wrong or right answers. Whatever point you make, whatever point you support it with reasons, support it with quality reasons, so that we can see your own point of view. Is that okay? All right. So money matter is a serious matter. Whether it is making the money, whether it is who to relocate, whether it is who spends the money, whether it is on what do we spend money in this family, all of these things cause areas of misunderstanding a lot in married couples. But you have to be wise enough to know which one works for you best as a couple. All right, let's talk about number three. Number three, tough aspect of marriage is fidelity, the issue of fidelity. This is of much concern, especially to people who have been sexually active before marriage. Now, when someone has been sexually active before marriage, it is difficult for you to have been able to like taste different pots of soup. You taste the okra soup, you taste egusi soup, you taste the bitter leaf soup, and then you get married, and somebody telling you have to eat only groundnut soup for the rest of your life. So it becomes a problem. And this is why we encourage people to exercise self-control, and that's also why we encourage most young people to remain virgins, whether you're a male virgin or a female virgin, because when you are a virgin, it shows that you have exercised a lot of discipline to keep yourself, exercised a lot of discipline to and self-control to hold back those urges when they come. And now what you're doing is that you're keeping yourself for the person that you get married to. One beautiful thing that happens is that when you get married, you are able to remain, your fidelity is intact, because you have not tasted of different people. It is easy for you to remain with one person. But when you have been sexually active with several people before you get married, it becomes difficult for you to remain with one person. I've seen people say, "Oh, don't worry, he has been sleeping around because he's not yet married. Don't worry, when he gets married, he will stop sleeping around." It is a lie. Quote me anywhere on this one. Oh. It is a lie. Nobody stops sleeping around when they get married. In fact, if you are a fornicator as a single person, when you get married, you will be promoted to the level of adulterer. Let me say this again. If you are a fornicator when you were single, but by the time you get married, you'll be promoted to the level of what? Adulterer. Your characteristic will change. The difference is that now is that you are sleeping around as a married person, and that is adultery. So it's important that you control yourself. It's important that you exercise self-control, self-restraint, discipline. These things will help you a lot in life. Fidelity in marriage. I know that there are times when you you begin to think and ask yourself, oh, is this only this person I'll have to sleep with for the rest of my life? Yes, that is how God made it. Yes, even society frowns at adultery. Even society frowns at people at infidelity, right? So it is expected that when you get married, you remain with that one partner for life. If you are truly an eagle, you see yourself as an eagle, understand that an eagle has one partner for the rest of his life. And if you want to be a high flyer in life, you need to remain with one partner for the rest of your life. It is not a death sentence, it is a commitment. It is a commitment to remain with that one person. No matter rain, no matter sun, no matter the weather, no matter the rain, whether it's rainy season or dry season, you remain with that one person for the rest of your life. That is what commitment is. That's what marriage is. Marriage is not just the goofy feelings you have. It is not the butterflies in your stomach. It's not the rainbows in the sky. But marriage is not the red balloons and the white sheets. That's not what marriage is. Marriage is a commitment to remain together with each other, vowing to remain together and till death do you part. That's what marriage is. So I don't know what you watch in the movies. I don't know what you see elsewhere or what you read in the books. But it is important for you to know that fidelity is an essential in marriage. You have to remain with the same person, whether the love life is high or whether the love life is low or whether it's interesting or whether it's engaging or not. You have to make that commitment to remain with that one person for the rest of your life, and that is why we speak about fidelity. Fidelity is so important. Fidelity in marriage is so essential. It is something that you have to consider as you are getting married, as you are preparing to get married. Understand that it is going to be you and this person for the rest of your life. All right. So it's important. And sometimes some people are not able to grasp the understanding. They're not able to live with it. They're asking themselves, why am I going to just do only with this person for the rest of my life? That is what you signed in for. That is what it entails. So before you get married, just reconfigure your mind and understand that it's going to be you and this person for the rest of your life. As the person gets older, as the person gets a bit feeble, this person experiences different levels in life. The highs and the lows is going to be you and this person for the rest of your life. So fidelity is a strong issue, and for some people, they are not able to grasp the meaning and the implication. All right, so they want to be married and still be able to sleep around. It doesn't work like that. Even those who are not even born again frown at it. The world frowns at it. People talk about, that's why it's called cheating, right? Even the people of the world call it cheating, because they know that it is a cheat. When you're sleeping with somebody who you're not married to, it is you cheating. That's why they use the word cheating. And cheating is never a good thing. All right, it's not something to brag about. It's not something to be happy about. Even people who are not born again expect you not to cheat. So the issue of fidelity is a strong one and a difficult terrain for some people to navigate in relationships. But blessed are you if you are really a virgin, not just a virgin physically or biologically, you are also a virgin at heart. You have not messed up yourselves with imaginations and movies and erotic pornography. If you have not done that, it will still be easy for you to exercise fidelity in marriage. You'll be able to be self-controlled, you'll be able to exercise self-restraint and discipline and focus on that one partner that you have. Let's talk about number 4 aspect of marriage. a tough aspect of marriage that you need to navigate properly. That number four is handling differences. Handling differences. I like you to understand that we are all different, every one of us. And when we get married, the person you are getting married to, you are different from that person. As a matter of fact, if the more different you are, the more the possibility of even liking each other, the more. So both of you are different. No matter, even if both of you have similar interests, both of you have similar hobbies, both of you have similar jobs, you are still different in different areas. All right. Your personalities will likely not be the same. And when we notice these differences, we should understand that because we are different, we are coming from different backgrounds, we have different parents, we have different experiences, we have different upbringing. There is a certainty that our choices in life will also be different. So the fact that you experience these differences should not be a reason why both of you start quarreling and having marital issues. The fact that you have these differences should tell you that this is something that both of you have to work together in order to agree. All right. So you have to disagree in order to agree. The end point is agreement. Even the Bible says, "Can two work together except they be agreed?" You have to learn how to handle your differences. And sometimes some of these differences come from experiences. Sometimes it comes from the environments we find ourselves we are brought up from. Sometimes it comes from our personalities. Okay, so these are the things that engineer the differences that we have. And it's important that you listen to your spouse. Figure out, find out why they are acting the way they are acting. Find out why they are choosing the options they are choosing. Find out why they are taking the decisions they are taking. Find out why they are talking in the way they are talking. Because all of our environment, our experiences, and even our personality contributes to the way we behave, the way we decide to do things. If you look at the way your parents live, there is a likelihood that they would rub off on you in one way or the other. So they will rub off on you in maybe in the way you discipline your children. They may rub off on you in the kind of food you eat as a family. They may rub off on you in the kind of ambience that is found in within your home. So find out for yourselves as a couple, sit down and agree. These are the things that I came with. All right, these are the follow come the follow come differences, and but this is not what I want. All right, so we can find our common ground. We can find the places where we both agree on. That is why communication is essential. You want to sort out the differences between the both of you. Communication is essential. One person would like to press the toothpaste from the middle, and that one would like to press the toothpaste from the end. This is just differences. One would like to sleep at the edge of the bed, the other would like to sleep in the middle of the bed. These are just differences. One would like to mop the house every day, one believes that sweeping is okay. These are just differences. So work out your differences. These differences will be different for different couples. All right, our place of differences might not be your own area of differences. For somebody, they don't mind. Okay, let me use myself for example. So my husband does not mind sharing a toothbrush. He does not mind sharing a towel. For me, I really mind. I mind. I cannot share my toothbrush. I cannot share my towel. It can become a problem if both of us do not understand ourselves. So he has understood that this is something that had to do with me, my upbringing, how I was raised, and who I have become over time. And he doesn't give bother about it at all. All right. So me also from my own side understand that this does not matter to him. So I intentionally uh, uh, put marks. All right. Have different colors of toothbrushes to avoid that problem, and also instead that our towels have different markings on it to show that this is different from that. That way we minimize the areas of conflict. I want you to know that conflict is normal. Conflict is natural. Anywhere that two people or three people are, there would always be conflict. Even in marriage, there is conflict, all right? Because both of you were not born by the same parents. Even when you were born by the same parents, both of you will not still agree on the same thing. There are many things that both of you will never agree on, even though you were born by the same parents. So conflict is natural wherever people are. As long as there are different personalities, there are different ways of thinking, conflict will always arise. The issue is not conflict. The issue is were you able to resolve the conflict involved. So handling your differences, something that both of you have feedback. In fact, even in the way in the things in the food you choose, the meals you eat at home, the furniture that you have in your home, you will see these differences displayed. But it is wisdom for you, both of you, to at least engage in compromise, leave out a little of what you wanted, leave out another little of what you wanted, and agree on common ground. This is how you make marriage work. The people that you see that are having the best of marriages is not because they don't have conflict. Papa and I, we have areas where we're different, but we disagree to agree. We make sure that at the end of the day, we understand that both of us, we are a team, and it is us against the world. So no matter what the differences are, we try to resolve them. Many marriages have been destroyed because of what they call irreconcilable differences. That's what they'll tell you. And that's why they are getting a divorce. And they should have been able to work around these differences, but they were not able to do that. So your ability to be able to work around your differences is what will determine the sustenance and the durability of your marriage. This is very key. Don't forget what I just said. Your ability to work through the differences, navigate the differences between the both of you, will determine the durability and the beauty of that marriage. It's so, so important. So handle your differences, understand that you're different and you're different for good reason. And the fact that you're different is not a problem. What is the problem is that both of you were not able to work or navigate through your difficulties, your differences. So differences are not a bad thing. In fact, differences give us a nicer perspective to life. All right, you're able to see things from another person's viewpoint. You're able to tune into what they are thinking and see life from another aspect. In fact, if not for the differences between my husband and I, there are some aspects of life that I will not be able to see. There are some aspects of life that he too will not be able to see. So we're coming from two different homes, but we came together and we decided to make our own home unique and different. It is not exactly what I had growing up. It's not exactly what he had growing up. It is something unique, a blend of both experiences, a blend of our differences, showcasing itself in a brand new family. And this is what it should be for your own home. So the fact that your father and your mother raised you like that does not mean that you must raise your children in that particular way. You can borrow a few ideas from your spouse, and then you guys can make a brand new, more beautiful family than what your parents gave you. And this is the key. This is how you do it. Is that all right? All right, kids. So let's talk about number 5. Number 5, tough aspect of marriage that you need to navigate, and that is parenting patterns. I've just touched that a little bit. In parenting patterns, you are going to decide what kind of parenting style do you want to use. What kind of parenting style do you want to use for your family? Some parents believe a lot in shouting over their children and in beating them and in yelling at them. And some other parents believe in just speaking to them, talking to them, and correcting them in love. So, whatever your pattern be, it is so important that you understand that parenting patterns are areas that are tough for most parents. And it is at that point you begin to see that the mother is always siding the sons, and then the father is always siding the daughters. And before you know it, you already have a serious problem in that family because people are ganging up against others. You have to understand what works for you as a couple. All right. So exactly what worked for your parents might not have to work for you. The way your parents raised you does not have to necessarily be the way you get to raise your children. You can borrow a little from your spouse's experience. You can also borrow a little from your own experience. You can even borrow from trainings, because I'm sure that you must have undergone some level of trainings as it relates to parenting. So some of these trainings can really help you to be a better parent, and instead of yelling at your children, shouting at your children, you can really talk to them and correct them in love and raise children who are very assertive and yet polite. Somebody can be very assertive and yet polite. They know what they want out of life, they know what they want to do, and at the same time they are able to communicate well and relate well with others. So these things are very, very possible. You need to navigate through the parenting pattern, because when mothers side their sons and fathers side their daughters, they create a lot of conflict in the home. They create a lot of uncertainty in the home. They create a lot of, in fact, they now begin to have different camps in the home. You know that issue between Jacob and Esau, the mother really had a hand, because the father, Isaac, in the Bible had clearly told his son, Esau, who was the firstborn son, go and make me a sumptuous dinner, a venison that I will eat and I will bless you. But it was the mother that overheard what the father told to Esau. And she now asked Jacob to go and that Jacob should hurriedly go and take the food that she made. And she made that food knowing well, very well, what this man, what her husband of many years loved. So this was a lot of a foul play, of some sort. It is true that God's hand was even involved, even in the overall scheme of things. But this woman was the one who actually set up her children for battle. Thankfully, they did not even have to kill each other eventually. But we should be careful as parents. Let's not set up our children up as enemies. You see siblings ganging up against siblings because one parent decided to side the other. Some of you parents, you sit back and you say a lot of rubbish about your firstborn son, your firstborn daughter, your second-born child, and you do it against one of the children as against the others. You gang up the others, and you are doing negative, something negative against the others. You shouldn't bring such conflict into the home. The home is supposed to be a peaceful place. The home is supposed to be a safe haven for every child. Every child, I mean, irrespective of their differences, irrespective of their behavior, irrespective of their attitude, home should be a safe haven for every child. Don't set your children up against each other. Don't make them enemies with each other. Make sure that you relate well with them in love. Make sure that you are carrying them along. How would the mother of Esau and Jacob now tell Jacob, come, I'm going to make food the same way your father loves it? And the man really ate. And the man really loved the food. And the man, even though he said that this voice is the voice of Jacob. He knew that this voice was the voice of Jacob, but the food he had eaten, the venison he had eaten, was still, the taste of the sweetness of the food was still in his mouth. And he pronounced the blessing that was meant for Esau on Jacob. So it's important that you agree on what parenting pattern works for you. Parents have always, and this is important, parents sometimes fight over disciplinary actions over their children. It is important that before time, ahead of time, you both should agree as parents on how to discipline your children. Don't come and be fighting in front of the children. I'm going to flog him 3 times. Say, why will you flog him? Do you want to wound him? And stuff like that. It shouldn't be so. Both of you should have a united front in front of the children. Because if you don't have a united front, wherever the children are, they can manipulate both of you to fight each other. I've seen families where children were one of the reasons why they broke apart. Because these children found weakness in the both of them and kept manipulating it till they could not live together with each other. Please, parents, I know you are parents, but please, you have to understand that before being a parent, both of you were a couple. So have a united front in front of the children. Agree, even if you don't agree and one is punishing the other, just hold your breath. Allow that punishment to be executed and then come back later in love. And please don't castigate your spouse in front of your child. Don't tell the child, don't worry, mommy is always a wicked mommy. I see how she beats you. That should not even be said by you at all. Don't say to your children, your father is hot-tempered. Your father does not love you people enough. That's why he beats you like that. Never ever allow such a thing to come out of your mouth. When you are doing something, maybe you are giving out gifts to the children, always have a united front. Tell them that this gift is from daddy and mommy. Even if it was from mommy alone, tell them it is from daddy and mommy. You are not lying. Both of you are one. Both of you present a united front. If you pay the children's school fees, let them know that we, your parents, paid your fees. It doesn't matter whether it's coming from your daddy's account or your mommy's account. Both of you as parents are doing the work together. That way, it will be easy for you to build a united front and parent properly. But if you keep separating and making the differences, don't mind your daddy, don't mind your mommy. Your mommy is not a good person. Your dad is a wicked man. All of these things will create problems for you eventually. You would develop a young man, a young woman who has a level of distrust for the world. They don't feel safe anywhere. They have trust issues. They carry it up and down. They disrupt even the relationships that should give them peace and pleasure, simply because they came from with distrust issues. This is very, very important on parenting patterns. Both of you should learn to agree for parenting patterns. Number 6, I want to share with you. Number 6, tough area aspect of marriage that you have to navigate is called sexual issues. Sexual issues. I know that as young people, before you get married, your libidos are high, your sexual drives are high. But it does happen that within marriage, that a time comes when either the sexual drive of the man runs low or the sexual drive of the woman runs low, which means that one person might have a higher libido than the other, which means that one person always wants to have sex and the other one can be comfortable without sex for months. Now, this can create certain issues and friction within the couple. And this is not unusual, it is not peculiar. When this is happening to you, understand that it is also happening to others. The issue here is that you have to navigate this tough aspect properly. So, what then do you do? So it is possible that this low decrease in libido could be as a result of health issues. Maybe as you're getting older, your body is no longer working like it used to work. It could also be because of the pressure, because of the pressure of life, having to pay house rent, having to provide for the family, having to take care of everybody. This can also create that loss of libido because your mind is set on other things. Another one could be just age. Age could be a factor. Age could make you not to be as active as you once were. So there are several things that can cause it. Even health issues, your health might not be what it used to be, and then because of that, and when this happens, you begin to have sexual issues because there is a mismatch between your sexual drives. When this happens, it is not something you take to the social media. It's not something you begin to shout about in the open. It is something both of you have to sit down and begin to talk about. You have to iron it out, discuss, communicate with each other, and let each other know this is what I want, this is what it is. But can we just step up? So what can happen is that the person with the higher libido might have to tone down a little bit, and the person with the very low libido might have to step up a little bit. And there are medications to this effect. There are doctors' counsel. All right, there are hospital medications. You can see your doctor for it. There are exercises to do. There are foods to take in, and all of this. But please don't let it be the beginning of the downfall of your marriage. And it is very, very important. People who will understand what I'm saying are people who are like 5 years into marriage, 10 years into marriage, and above. And when this happens, you begin to see that these are issues, and for sometimes it may not even be a libido issue at all. It could be just like an issue of interest. Somebody used to package themselves way before marriage, and now that they are married 5 years, 10 years, they're no longer interested in how they look. They're not even interested in their hygiene. They're not even interested in looking nice. They're no longer interested in packaging themselves well. They're no longer interested in making themselves appealing to the other person. And this can also be a problem. So these sexual issues in marriage can take many forms. All right, some other person might just begin to have a very strong distaste or tiredness over having the same sexual experience over and over again. There is no improvement. There is no advancement. Nobody's improving on anything that they are doing. This can also cause problems. And so there are a number of ways through which sexual issues can come into marriage. Even like infidelity can be a factor even in this sexual issue. So it is important that as people who are married, nobody may have shown you these ropes, nobody may have taught you this, but both of you need to real counsel. And I'm really sad that people only look for a marriage counselor when they have marriage problems. But that should not be the case. Even when your marriage is good and things are working, you need a marriage counselor to make it better, to avoid possible problems that might just be cooking. There are things that you're doing now, they may not be a problem today, but in the next 5 years, they will certainly be a problem. There will be a problem in the next 10 years. So it's important that you seek for a marriage counselor, not because you have marriage problems. And when you go to a marriage counselor, don't go with the mentality on the mindset that you're going there because you have issues. You're going there because you have problems. So see a marriage counselor because you need it. You need that counsel in your marriage. You need that counsel to be able to do better in your marriage, not because your marriage is having problems. So it's not everybody you see that is visiting a marriage counselor that has problems. They are visiting a marriage counselor so that they will not have problems. So the reason why you go for health checkup is not because you are sick. Sometimes you feel healthy, but you go for health checkup so that you don't fall ill, so that the sickness that will take away your life will not even come in the first place. So you have to make this a practice. All right, read marriage books, not because you're having marriage problems, but because you don't want to have marriage problems. And this is very, very important. So as I begin to round up, the last point I'd like to share with you today is managing relationship with in-laws. Okay, so this issue of in-laws has been an age-long problem, and you have to manage the relationships you have with your in-laws. As a matter of fact, if you don't manage the in-laws well, it won't be long, they'll become outlaws. In-laws can become outlaws if you do not relate well with them. So it is important that you relate well with your in-laws, whether it be a father-in-law or a mother-in-law, a sister-in-law, or a brother-in-law. The way you relate with them matters a lot. It is important that you know that the relationship with your father-in-law will not be the same thing with the relationship with your mother-in-law, will not be the same thing with the relationship with your sister-in-law, and will not be the same thing with the relationship with your brother-in-law. All of these people will have different personalities, but there are specific ways through which you'll be able to reach out, relate with each and every one of them. The truth of the matter is that in this particular video, I might not be able to exhaust all the ways through which you can relate with your mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law. But one rule that will help is that you should love them the same way you love your spouse. If you can do that, you'll be surprised that this will work out so wonderful. So you don't say, I love my husband, but you don't love your husband's family. It doesn't make sense at all. You cannot say, I love my wife, but you don't love your wife's family. I know that in Africa, we have an extended family system whereby when you want to marry a particular spouse, you practically like marry the whole community. But in as much as I don't believe that you marry the entire family, it is important that you know that this entire family becomes your new family. They become a part of you, which means that you have to think about their welfare. You have to reach out to them. You have to relate with them. You have to have a sound and good relationship with them. You cannot come and marry somebody's daughter and then hate the rest of the family. You can't help any one of them. You can't reach out to any one of them. You can't care for any one of them. That is ridiculous. All right? And you can't say, oh, I love my husband, but you love your husband, then you hate your husband's mother. Who raised that man for you? If she raised a monster, would you love him that much? So it's important that we balance all of these things, all right? There is need for us to balance our relationship with our in-laws. Let us treat them well. As a wife, you are married to a man, please treat his mother well. Treat his mother with respect. Understand that this woman was the one who nurtured and raised the man that you have come to love. And you should not take her for granted. Your father-in-law deserves your respect. Treat him well. In old age, don't make it look like, oh, you are now married to their child and it doesn't matter what happens to them. No, this person that you are married to is the person who is meant to take care of them in their old age. Care for them. If your father-in-law is alive, let him be your daddy. If your mother-in-law is alive, let her be your mommy. Your brother-in-laws and your sister-in-laws are your siblings in-law. All right? Make them siblings in love. Treat them well. I understand that there will be difficult ones. I understand that there will be ones that will try to complicate your life, but just love them the best way you can. Just show them love. Show them that you care. Well, I know that some of them will abuse the relationship. I know that some of them will misuse the opportunity. But make sure that to the best of your ability, you love them just as you love yourself. You care for them. You reach out to them. You treat them like family. There should be boundaries, healthy boundaries, but even with the healthy boundaries, make sure that you are extending to them the same kind of fellowship that you would extend to your father, your mother, your brother, or your sister. Manage relationship with in-laws, but make sure that you don't give them too much leeway before they become outlaws. Treat them well, but everybody should know their own space. Everybody should know their own place in your life, and this is very, very important. Now, truth be told, I will not be able to exhaust the topic, but I want to recommend a book for you. That book is titled All You Need to Succeed in Marriage. This book will revolutionize your marriage. It will help you because in that book, I have 20 powerful chapters in that one book. We usually call it, for fun, we call it the Marriage Bible, because in that book, it contains virtually everything you need to know about marriage, starting from before you get married, to your marriage vision, to your relationship with each other, to understanding your body, to sex in marriage, to parenting, to temperaments in marriage, to even grief and loss. All this book is loaded. I want to encourage you, get this book and you would be able to understand much more about marriage. So this is my recommendation to you. I am very happy that I was able to share these few things with you on navigating the tough aspects of marriage. Truth be told, marriage is beautiful. Marriage is sweet. Sometimes it can be hard. Sometimes it can be tough. But with this wisdom, you'll be able to navigate through the tough aspects as if it is a non-issue. So you will see some people that they are living through marriage as if marriage is so easy. it is because they have understood how to navigate these tough aspects. And I hope that with what I've shared with you today, you will understand that too, and you'll be able to have a very blissful and seamless marriage. Until I come your way again, keep making a positive, indelible mark in the lives of people and on the sands of time. I love you so very much. Bye bye for now.
Hi everyone, I hope you are blessed by that message. All right, so I want you to just go ahead and support us. If you are led, go ahead and just sow into the account right on the screen. And I know that as you do that, God will bless you big time. Because of the seeds you are sowing, we'll be able to reach a wider audience on different platforms. So please do well to sow that seed and God will bless you. Love you.